What's going on, guys? I thought I would make the video of me installing my Holosun 508T to my MOS Glock slide here. Obviously you have a lot of different choices. The MOS Glocks come with a cut right here for optics, but you're gonna have to generally use an adapter to make most of these fit. This is the Glock RMR adapter, which will allow for RMR cut optics to slide on there. Holosun uses an RMR. There's a lot. It's a pretty popular one. It comes with them. It's made of metal, and the good thing about them is it matches the serrations on the back. But I have heard, I have not experienced, but I have heard some issues with them as far as them not really holding up, especially after a lot of rounds. You got to imagine that the weight of the red dot is on top of the plate, which is then screwed to the slide. You're having a lot of G-forces and stress every time you fire, because that's a lot of rounds, and they might fail. They might be a component like a screw that either wasn't in spec or was not torqued down correctly that can fail. Plus it is a little thick, but there's a lot of different secondary options for an adapter plate. Some of them are thinner, thicker, some have a little bit more ingenuity. To show you guys that, I'm gonna go ahead and take the MOS plate off. It should be T10. So basically, you just take these. These are held down by T10 Torx. So if you wanted a optics cut ready Glock, you have to get the MOS. Anyway, the cut is like that. Basically, the plate will go on top like this, and then you have your dot that you'll use to put that on there. But I usually like secondary adapters. One I do prefer is Calculated Kinetics. I use them for my 43X. Unfortunately, they were sold out of their adapter plate for the Glock MOS, so I ended up getting this on the secondary, but I don't think you used it at all. But with this plate, you get all the necessary screws, and so if you compare them, this one is a little thinner. Plus you notice that raised front right there. What that does is it fills in the gap, because some of these optics, you'll have a gap. Let me take out the Holosun to show you guys that. This has already been opened. I opened it to test it and test fit it. So the way it's packaged is not how it comes. All right. So basically, you'll have the MOS plate right there. This will secure the red dot to your plate, but it stands in between it. So basically, you'll screw these two in, and then these smaller holes is what secures the red dot, your optic system, onto the plate. So you're pretty much relying on this to stay shut. And then some of them have different post holes, and different cuts have different areas where it's posted, but this is how it would look with the OEM Glock plate. You see the gap right there and right there, and it's a little thick. Now the good thing about thick is probably, I mean, you'd think it'd be stronger, but it does raise the red dot a little bit higher, and unless you get proper height iron sights, it may not coat as well with it. But this one you can almost see there. But instead of installing this then finding another one, I figured I'd go ahead and wait until I got this plate. Like I said, I'll show you how it looks like with the OEM Glock one. Now this is what it looks like with the C&H plate. See, it pretty much fills those gaps in. And I do notice it wiggles a lot less. There's going to be tolerant stacking because you're relying on the plate, the dot, and the slide, and the screws. So I'll be within tolerance. And sometimes you can't do that. Now the best option is to get it directly milled. There's places that will mill this area, whether your slide is optics cut or not, to match whatever footprint you want. And usually the RMR footprint for the most part is the most popular one. Obviously this one doesn't have the two holes to go in here, and then those screw holes won't match to this, but you can get it cut directly to get your slide to fit it directly, which would actually cause it to be a lot lower. And you take out the plate as a thing in there. So basically, the way the MOS plate works is they actually use these little T-nuts. You notice with this, the only thread engagement you get from the screws holding the Holosun would be as tall as this goes, where with the calculated kinetics note is thinner. It fills in some of those gaps, and I'm sure they have some different way that they use the steel, or they heat the steel. Then they have these steel T-nuts. I'm gonna show you how that works. It's pretty cool. And some other aftermarket adapters, they actually have that raised part that I'll show you built in. But basically, this is the bottom of your plate that'll go onto your slide. You'll put these T-nuts there. Alright. And then when it sits on your slide, you have a lot taller, here we go. You have a lot more surface area for the screws that hold your plate or your red dot to stay on there. And then they give you some different size screws. I think I marked the one I need. Some optics, depending on how thick or thin they are, may need different size screws. But yeah, I went ahead and cleaned it off, but I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of wipe them off again. Meaning you can use acetone or alcohol to kind of make sure all the oils and stuff are off. Now I'm gonna try, because you notice these screws have thread locker already on them. I'm gonna go ahead and try that, what's on there, but if not, I do suggest purple or blue Loctite or Vibrotite VC3, I think. That'll hold it on there, because you're having a lot of friction and you want to make sure it's torqued to spec and make sure it's tight enough. Just cleaning off the surface. Alright, so this is the screws that hold this down to the plate here. So we're gonna get those two T-nuts again. Wrong plate. Alright. And the good thing is, if you ever uninstall it and the screws get stripped out, you can just replace these T-nuts. C&H sell those on their own. So I turned it upside down so they don't fall out. And leave it like that. Now they suggest 10-inch pounds of torque. You can get a torque wrench. This is a real fat wheeler one. It's pretty clunky, but it does the job. So this is the screws that attach your adapter plate to your slide itself for the Glock MOS system. Sorry, my fingers are funky. You notice the blue stuff? This is Loctite. I'm gonna go ahead and try it with this on there. If not, what you wanna do is, if you don't have Loctite at all on your screws, is you wanna degrease it, take off any oil with alcohol or acetone, and then you want to apply Loctite and have cured in the way that is specified on there. Alright, so let me see what screw size that is. Is it T10 still? Yeah, it's still T10. So I'm gonna pop that off there. Pop it onto my torque. Right now I'm just gonna hand tighten it. Basically, the torque wrenches will only torque it down to as much as it sets. It's only gonna set it to 10-inch per pound, or whatever that is. So what I'm also doing is I'm pushing the plate up forward to the slide. Alright, so those are hand tight. Now I'm gonna turn it. There we go. now that that's done, obviously you have spares here, but I would definitely save these. And then this should be the screws that work with the Holosun. You get 3 in case you mess one up. So again, I did degrease this yesterday, but I'm gonna, or clean it yesterday, but I'll do it again. Alright, let that evaporate. Okay. Like I said, that one should have Loctite. I'm gonna make sure this one does too. It does. Butterfingers. I do not have the most dexterity in my hands. Again, I'm pushing the optic forward a little bit to make sure the tension's all the same way. So having a longer thread engagement means that you have a lot more surface area to kind of hold everything in. So the longer the screws, I would assume the stronger that should sit for you guys. Alright, there you have it. And this one, as it sits a little lower, you do get a small co-witness to there. I've got my dots set a little bit dark, so you really can't see it, but it's definitely there. Nice and secure. And I guess the next thing to do is, you know, after you let it sit for about 24 hours to let the Loctite kind of work in, to take it to the range and try it out. So I hope you guys enjoyed my quick bad video on how to install it using an adapter plate. I hope you guys have a good one.